everyone. Look, quick backstory before you dig into this video. It's about 10 minutes long. I have a Google Pixel 9 Pro. I got some seawater in it. Long story. I'll explain later if you stick with me. And I thought, how am I going to get this repaired? It's going to be a write-off, or it's going to cost me thousands of dollars or over $1,000 to get it fixed here. But I love going to China. I know that there's guys over there that can do amazing things with phones. Can I fly over there, get it fixed for cheaper than I can just get it repaired here in Australia? So there's a happy ending in sight. Maybe stick around for the next 8 minutes while I tell you exactly the backstory and show you what happened in China. See you in a sec. Okay. So if you're still watching, let's tell you the backstory, all right? So anyway, first of all, of course, I'm John Naylor from Deja Vu Travel Magazine. And one thing I love to do, if you've watched any of my other videos, is that I adore going to China. I've been there a bunch of time over the past two and a half years. Got a girlfriend there as well, and that's sort of part of the inclination, but it's such a wonderful place. Anyway, the backstory. Look, I love my Pixel 9 Pro XL, and I adore that phone and love having it with me at all times. So much so that I actually even take it into the surf and in one of these sorts of style of pouches. Now, how on earth do I get seawater inside a Google Pixel 9 Pro? That's pretty much waterproof to a point, and inside a pouch? Yeah, sure, right. So long story short, and trying to explain that part to you before you even get on to the happy ending that came from this tragedy. So, step one, buy a Pixel 9 XL Pro. Yeah, that was the first step. Now, the second thing I did, and look, I don't advise anybody to do this because it was a thing that was a stepping stone to the tragedy that unfolded, is that I elected on this occasion to go to an eSIM from my call provider. Well, anyway, I did that. Subsequently, with an eSIM in my phone, I had a bit of a problem with condensation inside the lens of the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. And so I looked up a bit of data, and I found out that the best way to resolve that was to actually pop the SIM card tray out and let the air circulate through the phone in a dry environment. And hopefully that warm condensed air that's obviously inside that phone from the point of manufacture has an opportunity to escape. So what happened after that? I lost the SIM card tray, didn't I? So still to this day, I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, so we've got a phone with an eSIM, no SIM card tray. So it's not waterproof now. And I took it out in the surf. Anyway, the bag failed. And as a result, I ended up, came in and thought, oh my goodness, there's salt water around my phone. So, but it's all right. I've got 2 layers of protection. This is not so bad. Because the SIM card tray wasn't in there, the thing wasn't waterproof, and some salt water got inside. I was just sitting here on my van, in the desk of my van. I've watched the screen crumble for a bit and discolor, and then poof, it's gone. So sad. Being the sort of guy I am, I pretty promptly after that, and I've got an IT background. If you've seen other videos, I'm pulling things apart all the time. On this occasion, I looked at this phone and thought, well, I better pull it apart. Razor blade in hand, watching a couple of YouTubes as I go to disassemble it, and I found my way inside. Found that it was actually salt water had got to the bottom board in the bottom of the phone. Cut away to a photo of that, and the salt water corrosion on the bottom board, which is the SIM card connector and the USB charge port, and a screen connector as well, importantly in this case. So I popped that out, a couple of screws. Found that also the screen connector had also corroded heavily. Obviously, some energy and electricity going through that circuit made it fail, and it was all brown, all you can see in the photo here. So what do I do next? Well, being the entrepreneur and the fixer guy I am, and I fixed iPhones back in the day and computers, so I started to look up the cost of repair components. Obviously, I was going to need a screen. It was abundantly clear to me that I was probably going to need this little USB connector board on the bottom, at least. Now, it didn't seem that any water had got right up amongst the processor, up around the battery or that sort of thing from what I could see. So fingers crossed, I was just going to be up for a screen, this little USB plug board, and obviously a SIM card tray, because I'm going to need to make the phone watertight again. Now, I did the research on that and came up with, the number was about $700 it was, all right, for the componentry. And that was looking up reputable online suppliers of official Google repair things, not some fly-by-night crowd. So I looked at that and thought, okay, that's going to be that plus 250, 300, 400, say, in terms of repair costs to have it done locally. So I'm looking at around about $1,100 Australian to, if I can possibly get this phone back online. And that's starting to get up there in terms of replacement cost and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, is there a cheaper way? So that's where things become really interesting, because I knew that I could fly to China for about $700. I knew there was tech skills over there that could repair pretty much anything electronic. And from whatever state it's in, and this obviously is saltwater damage, so it's pretty bad. And it was an opportunity for me to spend some time with my girlfriend, do a bit more touring, do a bit more business development. I paid for my flight with $700. That gives me $400 to get the thing fixed. Let's give it a shot. All right, let's pick up with John in Kushan, where I'm on the end of a selfie stick, and we've had a couple of dead ends, but we're starting to see the end in sight and some sort of solution coming along. Over to you, John. So it's Tuesday. I've been in China a week, and I'm in Kunshan. Now this is the theatre of sorts, and you can see this modern construction here is really quite something. It's no opera house, but certainly it's impressive, yeah? Never mind the sightseeing. We've got a job to do, and I've got just the 14 days here in China on this visit to get this phone fixed. Now, bring you up to date. Of course, my phone, we get it checked out here in Shanghai, and right now we're in Kunshan, just nearby. But of course, the phone's been off to Shenzhen because there was a connection down there, and she was someone I sort of came to trust a little bit as someone who could connect us with the technical skills. She said, yeah, send it down. The masters, the coolest fix-it guys in the country are on the job this weekend. And that's despite it being a 5-day Labor Day holiday here. So turns out she spent days at home. The guy could only look at it the next day. And so we go, enough's enough. We think we've got someone here in this fishbowl place that we saw the other day with his microscope and his technical skills and phones in parts, where I'm thinking, this guy's got the sort of tools that I like to see when you're trying to get something fixed. And that's probably a little bit of a sign. If you go to a place and they say, oh yeah, we can fix it, but if you don't see the things lying around, like phones in parts and microscopes, you're thinking, I don't think they're gonna do it. They haven't got the skills here on site to actually do the job. And that was the case, actually. Never made a video about this one, but on a previous visit, my crashed and failed Platinum Pro DJI Mavic, we found a place in Chengdu, and we went to it, and it was a 2-bedroom apartment that was just set up as a drone repair center. And there was like 6 people in there, and there was just loads of drones from roof to ceiling, and they pulled it apart and said, oh, we need to do this, this, and this. And I think it cost me just about $100 to get a rather major repair done on that drone. Okay, so here we go. Let's see how my Chinese goes. 你好，这个我女朋友when你海水在里面 pixel。My girlfriend talks to you the other day about water gets inside. In their style, we are already in action. The guy is disassembling, having a look inside. We have to use a translation app to have him understand what the problem was. But anyway, he's straight onto it. He's doing diagnostic over his microscope. Nicely here is that he's in a glass bowl shop here, so we can take a little peer through the window here at what he's doing. Like this guy really knows his stuff by the looks of. He's doing some readings off the circuit board. He's connected some test wires. I love it. As an IT guy myself, I can appreciate that he's working under the pressure of someone actually watching, but he's just getting on with it. That's what I like. Let's see what comes of this. Okay, so we've set the wheels in motion. This guy says, give me 3 days. Definitely gonna have to replace the screen, it's damaged, and this little bottom board, the USB socket board, I think that's the one he's talking about. So that's he's going to try and fix that one, because you just can't buy that one here in China. Crazy to think there's anything you can't buy in China. But what are we looking at? 1,200 RMB, so $250 for a screen replacement and the labour, where that's going to be a whole lot more in Australia. And that little plug board, if you can fix it, well, it's actually cheap to replace and buy in Australia. So maybe I'll get stuck with that job in the end. But anyway, we'll give him a red hot go. He's going to try and probably scrub it clean and get the salt water and corrosion off it. Let's go hire a car and go for a drive or something, hey? Tuesday that I dropped off this phone to this place. It's now Friday. We've had to wait for a screen to come in, but we've had some invitation to come and see this guy. So let's go see what's happened. How happy am I? So we've spent 1,200 RMB to get a new screen. This phone's not sealed up yet, so I've got to be gentle. But here we are, photos from a recent trip to Chengdu. I've got some video here from on the water, actually just before I destroyed the phone probably. And so 1,200 RMB for the screen, 100 RMB for the little daughter board or a little shower plug board. That's the USB and SIM card card that's in the bottom. I'll show you that in a sec. Now you can't really see it, but there's a little board in there that is still a bit of a problem because the SIM card connection doesn't work. So I've used an eSIM to get this phone going just now, and I'll probably be stuck with that for as long as I don't get that board replaced. Interestingly, no, we can't get that little plug board. So it's a USB power, it's a screen connector, and importantly, the SIM card receiver down there. So that's amazing he's got this going. I'm so happy. And it's all fit within the time budget as well. So we'll wrap this up in a minute with a little bit more detail about what's happened overall. Okay, I'm calling that a definite win, yeah? $721 Australian to fly return to China. $270 for the repair. 20 Australian dollars for the phone to go back and forth to Shenzhen on those blind alleys. And look, I gave the guy a tip of $30 and I felt so enormously grateful. I probably could have given him more. Anyway, that's a grand total of 1,041 Australian dollars. And for mine, that's a really good outcome. Considering I also got to spend some time with my girlfriend, got to do some more business development, and there's plenty going on as a result of that. Oh, and also I got my data back, didn't I? So the processor board was fine. It still had everything on it. So there were photos, and more importantly, there was a bit of video there of me driving a BYD Dolphin, I think it was. And so I got that footage back and was able to make a video about that. So wonderful tech skills in China and at a very affordable prices. And of course, you know what to do right now. If you still watch this long, then it's time to like, comment, and subscribe so you can get more of this wonderful content that I'm bringing you about China and my adventures there. Anyway, it's John Naylor from Deja Vu. We'll see you next time.